The Tvrđa fortress is the old town of the city of Osijek in the east of Croatia. Osijek, the main city in the Osijek-Baranja county, was once a major Habsburg military base. The Tvrđa fortress is the best preserved and largest ensemble of Baroque buildings in Croatia and consists of a Habsburg star front built on the right bank of river Drava. The Tvrđa fortress has been described by the World Monuments Fund as a unique example of an 18th century Baroque military, administrative and commercial urban center. Today, it's crisscross of streets and houses, school and college buildings, numerous bars and restaurants, and the Museum of Slavonia. It's residential too, home to some 10,000 citizens.
A Baroque military landmark fashioned in the classic Habsburg shape of a star, the Tvrđa fortress was constructed in the immediate vicinity of medieval Osijek after the defeat of the Ottoman forces in 1687, due to Osijek's strategic importance. By 1735, the inner town was finished, and it was the largest and most advanced Habsburg fortress on the border with the Ottoman Empire, consisting of 8 bastions and featuring armories, depots, a garrison headquarters, military court, a construction office, a garrison physician, guardhouse, officers' apartments, a military hospital, and 7 barracks. The completed fort was entirely surrounded with walls and palisades and had 4 main gates at each side, north, south, east and west. Tvrđa had streetlights by 1717 and was the site of the first public water supply in Croatia, opened in 1751. The construction of the walls was run by a general Johann Stephen von Beckers, and it is believed that his body was bricked into the water gates after his death. There is an interesting anecdote about Emperor Joseph's second attempt to enter Tvrđa during his visit in 1768. The emperor came after sunset, and even to him it wasn't allowed to enter the city gates. Another historical legend says that at the time of the Napoleonic Wars, at the end of 1805, when the great French conqueror threatened the capital of the Habsburg Empire, the whole treasury of the empire was moved between the walls of the Osijek fortress, which was one of the safest fortresses in the whole land. When the danger ended, one of the treasury chests allegedly remained in Osijek, but it has not been found until today.
Tvrđa's military importance decreased after the Berlin Congress of 1878. With the increasing stability of the surrounding region, most of the fort walls and fortifications were destroyed in the 1920s due to the obstacle they presented to the development of Osijek. While the fortifications have largely been removed, the fort's core remains intact and now is home to churches, museums, schools and other public buildings. Of the fortification system, only the northern side of the walls now remains intact, as well as part of the first and 8th bastion, along with the northern gate known as the Water Gate. As Osijek grew as a city, the fort's presence hindered the potential for urban development. The demolition of most of the fort walls happened between 1923 and 1926, with the construction of an electric tramway. The last gunpowder magazine, located behind the Church of St. Michael, was demolished in 1958. While most of the fortifications have been demolished, the center of Tvrđa remains intact. The Yugoslav People's Army maintained a garrison and a military hospital in Tvrđa. But in the 1980s, these buildings were gradually being abandoned and adapted into ateliers for local painters. Tvrđa sustained significant damage during the Croatian War of Independence, which lasted from 1991 until 1995. The war brought structural damage from collapsing roofs, walls and floors. Tvrđa was featured on the 1996 World Monuments Watch list of most endangered sites. It now features on Croatia's tentative list for consideration as a nominee for a World Heritage Site.
The new name of Osijek appeared in 1196. The center of medieval Osijek was on the banks of the river Drava, where now Tvrđa stands. The town was a trade and port settlement from the early 12th century due to its position on the way from Pax and bound southwards. The site was home to a monastic church of the Holy Trinity. Between 1526 and 1687, Osijek was ruled by the Ottomans, who did not change the layout of the settlement in any substantial way, but introduced Islamic places of worship, giving the area an Oriental appearance. Traces of medieval and Ottoman town remains to this day, including a remain of the old Ottoman fortress wall, known today as the Turkish Wall or Firdevs Fort.
During the Ottoman period, Osijek was internationally known because of Sveman Bridge. The construction of the bridge was begun by Ibrahim Pasha on 16th of August 1526, following the orders of Suleiman the Magnificent. The bridge, which connected Osijek and Darda, took the form of a wooden road on piers and was approximately 7 kilometers long and 6 meters wide. Seen as a great threat to Christian Europe, the bridge was attacked several times, being destroyed in 1664, when it was set on fire on the orders of Croatian feudal Lord Nicholas VII of Zrin. The bridge was rebuilt during the rule of Suleiman II. Finally, it was burned down by Habsburg armies in 1686.
After the fortress's military importance decreased at the end of the 19th century, Tvrđa became a center of administrative, educational, cultural, and scholarly life in Osijek and the entire region. The first school in Osijek was organized at Tvrđa. The significance of educational institutions of Tvrđa are best underlined by the fact that Croatian Nobel Prize laureates Lavoslav Ružička and Vladimir Prelog were all graduates of the Tvrđa schools. The Faculty of Agriculture of the Josip Juraj Strossmayer University of Osijek has occupied the former general headquarters since 1995. The Faculty of Food Technology has been relocated to a building that served as the first military hospital in Osijek from the mid-17th century until the beginning of the 1990s. Other present-day educational institutions in Tvrđa include two grammar schools, Franjo Kuhač Music School, Jesuit Classical Gymnasium, and the Secondary School of Economics.
There are approximately 10,000 inhabitants living within the Tvrđa city district today. The fort interior is now a center of Osijek nightlife. There are numerous bars and restaurants in Tvrđa. The fort hosts the Museum of Slavonija, the largest general-type museum in Croatia, located in Tvrđa since 1946. The former town museum and archives building today houses the State Directorate for Monument Protection, a department of the Croatian Ministry of Culture. The patron saint of the Tvrđa is Saint Michael, and his feast day of the September 29th is celebrated as the day of the Tvrđa city district. The Agency for Restoration of Osijek Tvrđa was established in 1999. Its stated goals are protection, restoration and revitalization of Tvrđa. The restoration process aims to preserve architectural, historical and aesthetics qualities of Tvrđa in full accordance with the restoration principles set by the International Council on Monuments and Sites, while maintaining its functional character. International cooperation is also envisioned in particular with the Council of Europe. International cooperation is also envisioned in particular with the Council of Europe. The agency is jointly founded by the Government of Croatia, Osijek-Baranja County and the City of Osijek.